This is a rant video, so on screen is just some Jamestown gameplay, which I'm quite rusty at. Michael Derek Hudson is a poet who has used the pen name Yi-Fen Chow to get published more easily. Maybe you've seen the story, it's been on a bunch of different sites and it's done the rounds on Twitter. For the most part, I just think it's funny, but there are a couple things it's made me think about. Because there is this strong progressive push toward racism and sexism, this idea that you have to think a woman writes like a woman uniquely, a black person writes black, a white person writes white. 1. What are they going to do about imposters? 2. Why can't they tell? If editors or even just readers think that more needs to be published by women and minorities because they bring a unique perspective, which is what I've always been told is the issue with too many white men being published, that it's their perspective only pervading everything. If that's the case, why can't you just tell it's an imposter from reading it? If that's not the case, then what is the point? And 3. If a poet is aware that editors and readers are going to read their poem with a different set of eyes depending on what race or gender they think the poet is it not a valid artistic choice to try and mislead them by means of pen name? In this recent example, it was explicitly to try to get published, and there are of course plenty of examples of women using male pen names for similar reasons, but I think you can go even further than that. That's sort of a case of being taken seriously or focused on. What if you targeted a particular audience and you were able to crack their stereotypes or ideals? I'll try to explain what I mean. Let's say you're targeting your work at a progressive audience, one that's likely to take huge notice of your name, try to figure out who you are. You've written a sentence, and you know that if they think you're a man, they're going to think you must have a particular perspective, and so writing that sentence means one thing. If they think you're a woman, they know that women have a different perspective, and they know what that perspective is, and so you writing that same sentence means a different thing. In order to say what you want to say to this audience, you may not just need to write the right words, but pick the right identity to have saying them, while also being careful not to stretch it too far outside of what they'd accept coming from that identity, so as not to completely use up your writing identity combo bonus, I guess. And all of this can be done just through choice of pen name. The guy I mentioned at the beginning never said that he was Chinese, at least according to a blog post from the person who picked him. They were just presumed to be based on the pen name, and the editor did apparently get extra value out of the poem as a result. To paraphrase, he said it made him marvel at how interesting people's cross-cultural lives can be. Does it matter that it was a trick? Is that not what the poem and choice of pen name did? In this instance, the editor was looking for minorities and picked up on it because of the name, but would the poem have meant the same to him if it had a different name attached? And why shouldn't that be something for an artist to play with in that way? And let's bring this over to gaming. There is some demand for video games made by women and minorities, but what are they really demanding? It's not quite that. There is a demand for games that will make them think it's made by women and minorities, whether it is or not, which is why characters like Bayonetta don't count, because that's not what a woman makes. But on the flip side, they also won't be able to tell that something not actually made by a woman isn't made by a woman. So, to finish all of this, what I want to see is an all-straight white male studio ruse the progressive niche audience. Make a game about ethnic motherhood, lie about who you are, maybe even get actors for interviews, and make something truly life-changing. A couple years down the line, reveal it. I just need to see what happens if someone pulls this trick, creates a culture-defining piece of art for the demographic they are pretending to be part of. You know, something that is picked up and praised as being authentic and just the most true expression of this person's identity. Something that will really take advantage of all these progressive critics and curators. Really analyze what they want to see and give it to them. And then reveal that it was actually made by a pimply white fedora-wearing neckbeard. Or keep it a secret forever. To the audience, to the people the creation was made to be engaged with by. Even if they care about who made it, all that really matters is who they think made it. So when it comes down to artists picking names to mislead people about their ethnicity or gender for whatever reason, if you're going to talk about what they're doing or what they should be allowed to do, you can pursue identity politics and try to limit people, or you can pursue art. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.